inches of snow. And then out to the west, there's that other bullseye. But there are the amounts of snow that we had. Now we look ahead to Christmas Day. New data is coming in right now. Justin will have that at 4:30.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Gary. And don't forget, if you have questions about when your street will be plowed, you can follow plows in Kansas City, Missouri online. This is the city's snow plow map. It's color-coded to show you which streets have been plowed. There's also a link to this map online at kshb.com/thenow. You can see a lot of these streets yellow and blue. That means they have been plowed. Some as recently as within the past 8 hours. This is the Plaza neighborhood here in KC. Well, one business that is booming because of the snow is tow truck companies. Allison Bruner here to explain why it was such a busy day for those tow truck drivers.
Justin, I just got off the phone with Laser Tow, and they tell me they've already towed more than 90 cars as of now. That's a lot of vehicles.
A lot of cars.
And I did catch up with one of those drivers to see what's keeping them so busy.
Well, that first snow, it's always kind of crazy.
Snow means a busy day for Jason Garrison.
A lot busier than normal. I mean, a normal day you may do 6-8 calls, and today I've already done 3 or 4 this morning.
The most common problem for drivers is losing control in the slick conditions.
Going down the driveway, and as I'm going, my back end kept sliding and sliding till I slid off my driveway and into a rock bed.
But Judy is thankful she's okay and that Jason arrived to help.
I'm very grateful that I was able to get someone out here.
Some who may not be as grateful are those who park illegally in areas that block the snow plows. I spoke with the communications unit with the Kansas City Police Department, and they tell me, believe it or not, they have not handed out an unusual amount of tickets of people parking illegally. But overall, most are thankful to see Jason.
A lot of people are pretty happy to see me, and it's nice to help people out.
And Jason does remind us all to give plenty of time to get to places, and if you do see a tow truck driver, slow down and just watch out for them.
Yeah, great day for the tow truck drivers,
Really
terrible
is.
day for the people being towed.
Yes.
That's the bad part. Thank you, Allison. Well, not everyone hates all this snow. Take a look. One of our 41 Action News photojournalists took this video of his dog running circles around the snow. You can tell he's been waiting a while for the chance to enjoy the white stuff. And don't forget, you can always send your pictures and videos of the snow to us, and we'll even show some of them to you on TV. Email them to myreport@kshb.com. You can also tweet them to us or upload to our Facebook page. We'll show a few more later on the Now KC. And remember, you can keep track of weather conditions and traffic 24/7 on your phone. Just download our free 41 Action News mobile app for the latest on the forecast. Well, happening right now, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office says they've arrested a registered sex offender for working as Santa Claus. While it's not illegal to play Santa, 50-year-old James Gray of Lee's Summit is charged with failing to register as a sex offender for his employment, which is legally required. He's in jail now and held on $20,000 bond. This next story getting thousands of shares in Kansas City today. A Missouri Republican is proposing that women be required to get notarized permission from their father to receive an abortion. State Representative Rick Bratton of Harrisonville recently filed legislation requiring a father's consent except in cases of rape or incest. Bratton told the Associated Press he wasn't trying to define, quote, legitimate rape, but said a woman would need to prove the rape to have an abortion without their father's permission. The protests have died down, but there's still a lot of news coming out of Ferguson. The ACLU and the NAACP now suing one of the school districts there. The lawsuit alleges school board elections for the Ferguson-Florissant district discriminate against black people. A school district spokeswoman says the lawsuit is now being reviewed. Items from the protests in Ferguson, Missouri now on display in Washington. It's part of the museum's exhibit on civil rights. The museum will display things like a press pass, a the police poster, and rubber pellets used from a police grenade that dispersed the protesters. The museum also acquired homemade T-shirts, posters, and some African-American weekly newspapers covering the protests. The display begins tomorrow. Happening now, Paramount Pictures canceling showings of Team America World Police. The screenings were scheduled after Sony canceled the release of The Interview. Both movies poke fun at North Korea, but after those recent threats, the company's not taking any chances. Ann McNamara at the Now National Desk explains why critics say Sony is overreacting.
Seth, how do you feel about Sony pulling the plug on the film?
Actor Seth Rogen silent but visibly upset at Sony's decision to pull the plug on the interview amid terror threats and cyber attacks.
Gentlemen, you are entering into the most dangerous country on earth.
The comedy, which was scheduled to hit theaters Christmas Day, centered around a plot to kill North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Now U.S. officials confirming the North Korean government is behind it all. But still, President Obama says there's nothing to worry about.
We'll be vigilant. If we see something that we think is serious and credible, then we'll alert the public. But for now, my recommendation would be that people go to the movies.
I'm pulling out. No, you're not.
Not only has Sony canceled the theater release, it also has no plans to release the film on demand or any other platform. But you can still see the death scene leaked online showing the demise of Kim Jong-un's character in slow motion. Billboards advertising the interview now blacked out.
I think it is ridiculous. I think Sony is in panic mode. They don't know what to do. They're facing numerous lawsuits from investors, from shareholders, from partners. They're all scared for their jobs. They're just trying to do something, anything. I think this decision was made in haste and without a lot of consulting, and it's a really bad decision.
Meanwhile, some politicians say the sudden fold not only bad for revenue, it's also bad for national security. Arizona Senator John McCain calling it a troubling precedent that will only empower and embolden bad actors to use cyber as an offensive weapon even more aggressively in the future. At the Now National Desk, I'm Ann McNamara.
Thanks, Ann. And it seems celebrities aren't happy with the interview getting canned either. Digital reporter Deb Tuff tells us they took to Twitter to vent their frustrations. A lot of people very upset.
Very upset, Justin. And they didn't hold back. They did not hold back. Newt Gingrich called the hack a, quote, act of war, end quote, while film director Judd Apatow says it was disgraceful for the theaters to pull the film to begin with. Now, let's take a look at some more big names in Hollywood who are outraged. Rob Lowe had a lot to say. He put, wow, everyone caved. The hackers won, an utter and complete victory for them. Wow. He also posted, saw Seth Rogen at JFK. Both of us have never seen or heard of anything like this. Hollywood has done a Neville Chamberlain, has done Neville Chamberlain proud today. Now, Neville Chamberlain served as this British prime minister who gave up parts of Czechoslovakia to the Nazi Germany. Now, speaking of which, Steve Carell, who's known as a funny man, didn't have very nice things to say yesterday. He was actually one of the stars in the movie. He said, you know, it's a sad day for creative expression, hashtag fear eats the soul. He also tweeted out this picture of Chaplin impersonating the Nazi Germany's with the world in his hand. And it's one of those things, Justin, that people, they just aren't happy about right now. Now, speaking of what people aren't happy about, one of the stars, outspoken James Franco, references the Paps following him. He's been mum on the cancellation, so has Seth Rogen. But if you want more celeb reactions, you can just head to kshb.com/thenow.
All right, a lot of people upset. Thank you, Deb. Well, right now, let's take a look at the traffic outside. Gary telling us earlier he's not expecting too big of a problem this evening. This is Interstate 35 at 69 Highway. You can see snow in the ditches there. Traffic, though, moving along relatively fine, a little slow maybe. Out east on the Missouri side, this is I-70 at Woods Chapel Road. Similar situation there. And up north, this is Interstate 29 at 64th Street. Lots of snow. No traffic problems, though. And looking at the wider traffic map, mostly green. That means traffic moving along fine. Just getting started here on the Now KC this evening. Big recall expands at 4:52. What you need to know before the next time you get in your car. Plus, at 4:35, the local restaurant getting hundreds of reservations for Christmas. Why they're choosing to be open on this major holiday. And restoring diplomacy with Cuba at 4:16. Why this relationship is about more than just politics. Big changes just announced for the Secret Service and at the White House. Ann McNamara here to tell us what's happening. Ann?
Justin, the new report is showing that the agency needs more training, more staff, and a new leader. All of it coming after a man jumped the White House fence and ran into the White House back in September. Most of this report is classified. It won't be released publicly, but according to a panel of experts who examined all of this, they found some pretty deep problems at the top. The executive summary said this: the panel found an organization starved for leadership that rewards innovation and excellence and demands accountability. They recommended having an outsider lead the agency, not an insider, and they also recommended a simple step: raise the 7.5-foot fence about maybe 4 or 5 feet, then put an outward curve on the top. That would make it harder to jump over. Justin, back to you.
All right, thank you, Ann. Well, the latest now on the changing U.S. relationship with Cuba. Miami's community of exiles divided by generations, it seems. Some standing firm against Raul Castro and feeling betrayed by President Obama, while younger people demonstrating their support for the president's decision. Protesters surrounded a popular restaurant in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood, the heart of the Cuban exile community, in response to yesterday's monumental decision from President Obama and Raul Castro. Police in South Florida on high alert. Meanwhile, 90 miles south of Miami in Cuba, Cubans celebrated a step forward in mending the relationship between the U.S. and Cuba. This comes after more than 50 years of ice-cold tension finally thawed when Cuba released hostage Alan Gross in exchange for 3 Cuban prisoners. And President Obama's announcement to restore diplomatic ties with Cuba triggers a huge shift, and not just on the political front. Our friends at Newsy explain.
Cuba has been an international hotbed for top young prospects over the years. Some have even risked their lives on dangerous voyages to defect from their homeland to the U.S. Improved relations between the two countries could change all that. As it currently stands, since Fidel Castro took control of Cuba in 1959, MLB teams have not been allowed to scout or overtly recruit players living in the island nation, even though many of them end up sneaking out of the country to play in the U.S. anyway. But with the right amount of government leverage, the methods for recruiting Cuban players could become much easier. And baseball officials will be the first to tell you, there is a vast talent pool 90 miles south of the U.S. One baseball attorney told New York Post it could be unbelievable. There's this infusion of talent in Cuba. There are currently 19 Cuban players in the MLB. That's third most of any foreign country and the highest total number since 1967, when 30 Cuban players took field on American soil. And of the 19 current Cuban big leaguers, 5 of them were all-stars last year: Alexi Ramirez, Aroldis Chapman, Jose Abreu, Yoenis Cespedes, and a man whose treacherous journey to the States is the stuff of a Hollywood movie, Yasiel Puig. Even with all the hype, it's still unclear if or when anything will change in the way baseball scouting and recruiting works between the U.S. and Cuba. The Times points out that for any real shift to take place, Congress would likely have to get involved. For Newsy, I'm Jay Struberg. You can get more from Newsy on any mobile device or on Roku.
And all eyes on Russia as well, as President Putin gives his annual news conference amid the economic crisis in Russia. The United States, he says, has reignited the Cold War.
We're not attacking anyone, we're not warmongers. We are only defending our interests, and the dissatisfaction of our Western partners are huge because of this.
Putin also criticizing the U.S. as an aggressor, saying Russia spends only $50 billion a year on defense, while the U.S. spends 10 times that amount. Putin's always maintained Crimea broke away from the Ukraine because its people wanted independence. During the 3-hour speech, Putin said he has not decided whether he'll run for re-election as president. A mass murder and kidnapping in Nigeria is now blamed on Boko Haram. 32 people were killed and 185 women and children were kidnapped. The violent raid happened on Sunday, but news of the attack just reached Nigerian officials today because communication towers in that region had been disabled. According to reports, armed gunmen stormed a village, shot the men, and rounded up the women and children. This is the same area where Boko Haram gunmen kidnapped more than 200 schoolgirls last April. We got a glimpse of the Boston bombing suspect for the first time since last year. He appeared in a Boston court alongside his attorney at Johar Tsarnaev's final hearing before his trial is set for January 5th. Courtroom security very tight. The mother-in-law of a man shot and killed while being questioned by police after the bombings shouted words of encouragement to the 21-year-old before being escorted out. Take a look.
I said in court, Johar, you have a lot of supporters. We pray for you. We're here for you, Johar. We know you innocent. Be strong, son. That's what I said, because I have son 20 years old and my daughter 25 years old. So I'm here for justice. And so far, I don't see the justice. So far, people who shooting innocent and unarmed people keep doing what they've been doing.
He's pleading not guilty to 30 federal charges of conspiring with his late brother for building and setting off 2 pressure cooker type bombs. 3 people died, more than 260 were hurt at last year's Boston Marathon. Well, good news if you're looking to buy a house. Fixed mortgage rates at their lowest level in more than a year. According to the latest research from Freddie Mac, the 30-year fixed rate average is now 3.8%. That's the lowest since May of 2013. This means if you're house shopping right now, you'll be able to afford more house. Also, if you're thinking about refinancing, now may be the time. This is directly related to the recent Russian economic downturn, and here's why. Investors are buying bonds instead of rubles, and as more people buy bonds, they pay out less, and since mortgage rates follow bond yields, houses get more affordable. Serial, it is the podcast your coworkers are probably talking about, the new phenomenon that has people in Kansas City organizing listening parties ahead on the Now KC. Well, are you one of the millions who listened to the final episode of the Serial podcast? Local list host Mitch Weber is one of those obsessed fans. He breaks down why this one podcast has become a pop culture phenomenon.
From This American Life and WBEZ Chicago, it's Serial. One story told week by week.
Serial is the podcast everyone is listening to in their cars, their treadmill, even at work.
I love murder mysteries, and I ended up listening to a bunch of them when I drove home for Thanksgiving.
Binge listening overnight, all of these different episodes. I ended up falling asleep listening to one of the episodes.
People are even organizing listening parties.
We had over 180 RSVPs. I thought if we had 20 people here, I'd be really happy, so this is really great.
The podcast is about reporter Sarah Koenig's journey re-examining the 1999 murder case of Baltimore high school student Haymon Lee. Serial storytelling could be credited for making it become the most downloaded podcast ever. Serial instantly connected with listeners who want to know if the victim's ex-boyfriend Adnan Syed should be spending a life sentence in prison for her murder. Listeners are still going back and forth.
I don't know whether or not he's guilty, but I don't think that there was that they proved without reasonable doubt.
Serial is definitely popular just because it is a narrative. People love to hear stories.
Jeremy Fuchsa, host of the Kansas City-based podcast The Shakes, sees the possibility Serial listeners could find other podcasts when they're in iTunes.
As long as they're there, they have the chance to discover us.
So you have plenty of choices to find the right podcast to keep you entertained until Serial comes back for season 2.
KCUR is hosting another listening party tonight at the Westport Flea Market. So while you're there, tweet a picture of yourself listening to the final Serial episode, or maybe if you're at the gym or at home when you listen to the final episode. Tweet at @TheListMitch and use the hashtag #SerialSelfie. For The List, I'm Mitch Weber.
Thanks, Mitch. And tonight on The List, the snow didn't stop a local group of superheroes from shopping for kids at Children's Mercy, plus gifts for your four-legged friends made by local businesses. The List, tonight at 6:30, right after 41 Action News at 6. A California photographer who has about 10 cameras situated deep in the Angeles National Forest captured some amazing video. Take a look. He set up a Santa Claus doll in hopes of recording it with a mountain lion. What he got was a bear that attacked the doll on tape. The big black bear approaches the doll, checks it out, smacks it down, and plays with it for a while. This bear can probably expect coal in his stocking this year. Wow. So a lot more to come here on the Now KC, taking advantage of a snow day at 4:50. Why this day went downhill fast for a lot of people. Plus, we'll show you some more of those snow photos. And staying true to the mission at 4:31, the local organization thousands of dollars behind, and why they're confident they'll get a Christmas miracle before the end of the year.
76 people picked today for the Snowflake contest. When did it officially end? And our forecast coming up.
Starting this half hour off with Stormy and with Gary, both watching the forecast. The snow may not stick around very long.
Yeah, there were school closings today, but the school Stormy entertained today, Heatherstone, they were open, and 500 kids got to be entertained by her. And we'll show you that here in a few minutes, okay? But I want to show you our 7-day forecast because we're going into the holiday week. New data has come in. We're looking at a lot of clouds. It was cloudy Friday and cloudy Saturday and Sunday cloudy. Monday the sun might come out and then cloudy. Monday afternoon a little disturbance comes in. It'll drop into the 30s. Some rain or snow showers possible by Monday night. Then we get to Christmas Eve. This is Christmas Eve. 43 degrees. The latest data might imply it goes all the way up to like 50 or 55 degrees Christmas Eve. And then on Christmas Day, a strong storm is going to develop, but not until the end of the day. So if there's any travel problems, it'd probably be Christmas Day night or on Friday. Our snowflake contest, well, Cruise Jewelries has a great prize for the winner. 76 people chose today to end the snowflake contest. And I brought Justin in to look at some of these entries today, and it's awfully close.
A lot of entries just for today, and yeah, it's a very close call.
In the last few years, in fact, the last 15 years, 20 years I've been doing this, the people forget what time they chose, okay? They do. But I've been getting some emails. Some people are awfully close, and they've been remembering. Yeah. The first inch was recorded at 2:24 a.m. this morning. Kaylee Dion was here. She got here. She measured it right at 1 inch. And since then, we had about another inch or two. So, but 2:24 a.m. And how close were you? We can't announce the winner yet because we had to make sure we got it right.
Right.
But we have a few people very close.
Gonna announce it tonight?
No, it'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Give us another 24 hours.
Keep us in suspense for another day.
All right.
All right. Amazing how close it was. Thank you, Gary. Right. And with this chilly weather and the snow, City Union Mission needs your help so they can help others stay out of this cold. Digital reporter Deb Tuff is back to tell us what you can do to help them.
That's right, Justin. The mission is behind on their budget. They're leaning on their faith and the community to pull them through. Watch this.
The cold outside has brought people inside the mission.
These days we're having a little over 500 men, women, and children every night in our shelter. Every night.
With a spike in men who stay in a constant flow of families, and naturally there's a spike in cost.
But we serve 3 meals a day, and so we use a lot of things. The utilities go up, obviously, when it gets cold, too, so just a lot of financial needs.
Financial needs which equal a shortfall to the tune of $500,000. In addition to temporary housing, the mission also provides life skills classes, case management, counseling, and health services.
And we're significantly behind. We tried to raise half of our budget between October and the end of January, so that's where we're behind about $500,000 right now.
Some critics may pinpoint the mission's stance on same-sex marriage as a reason for the decline. Couples can stay in the same dorm together, but not in the same bed.
Obviously, there's a lot of strong feeling both sides of this debate, and those who, like us, have a biblical stand. I've been accused a lot of times in this past month for the wrong biblical stand.
But that stand is what keeps Doty and the mission hopeful.
We've lost a lot of supporters over this past month, but thankfully have gained some new supporters as well who are in agreement with us.
Now, the mission says they have nothing against same-sex couples. In fact, they welcome them. Now, 85% of their money comes from donors. I've posted a link on kshb.com/now so folks can find that.
$500,000, a lot of money, an alarming amount of money. Are they going to have to cut back?
No, they actually are going to keep all their services. They won't cut back. They're hopeful, they're faithful that they'll get the money soon.
All right, let's hope they do. Thank you, Deb. Well, within the past 90 minutes, a huge milestone on Wall Street. We want to go back to Ann McNamara now at the Now National Desk for what's happening with that. Ann?
Hey, Justin. Yeah, kind of an early Christmas present for investors. The Dow jumping 421 points today. It is the best single-day point gain since 2011. All of this in reaction to the Federal Reserve's announcement that the rate hikes aren't coming anytime soon. The strong trend started yesterday, making this the best two-day point gain since November 2008. Pretty big deal. All signs that this economy is finally improving. Back to you.
Yeah, very impressive. Thank you, Ann. Well, if the holidays stress you out, Allison Bruner found some restaurants on the plaza that are open on Christmas Day and will do the cooking for you. May not give you presents, but they will give you food.
Which might be a present in itself.
True.
But let me tell you, if you want to book reservations, you better act quick. I talked with the manager over at Morton's Grill. He tells me already 300 people have booked the reservation.
Wow.
It's a lot. Well, Morton's will be open Christmas Day until 8 p.m. They'll open at 11:30 that morning. Customers can choose from the traditional menu. The general manager tells me he's thankful, though, to offer an option for folks this Christmas.
I feel happy at the opportunity that I'm here to serve those people and give them the opportunity to take that stress out of their environment.
Now, other restaurants on the plaza open Christmas Day include Chaz on the plaza as well as McCormick and Schmick's. So a couple of options there on the plaza.
Yeah, plenty of options.
Yes.
Thanks, Allison. Well, now to the cute alert of the day. The Kansas City Zoo got 2 early Christmas gifts themselves. Take a look. 2 Gentoo penguin chicks just hatched, and 1 more is on the way. They weigh just about 1/4 of a pound, pretty tiny. The zoo says they grow quickly, though, and are completely dependent on their parents for up to 3 months. About 3 months from now, they'll start to get their fathers and will be torpedoing through the water. Right now, though, very, very cute. Well, have you heard of turkey slurping? It sounds kind of gross, but it's not quite what you think. Our friends at Right This Minute have more.
What's up, The Now? I'm Beth Troutman.
And I'm Ollie Pettigrew. We're addicted to turkey slurpees, but they're not as gross as you think they are because of this video.
What? How is that possible?
This is Lacey Sessions, and she discovered that she has this incredible skill. She can basically make some turkey disappear in a second. We tried it. We weren't so hot at it. It turns out it's all about the specific kind of turkey you get. But you know what? Everybody was so fascinated. It's exploded all over the internet that we actually spoke to Lacey and her husband, Tim.
The less expensive brands seem to work better.
Yeah, the cheaper the better.
And we found out it's not about video trickery or anything. She can actually do it because she did it for us.
I know, it's incredible. I mean, honestly, I want to go home and try this every night just so I can have this skill to show off at parties.
You would be the hit of the party.
Yeah.
For all the latest videos, you can catch us on Right This Minute.
With 1 week to go until Christmas, it is not too late to decorate. Ann McNamara is here with some untraditional ideas.
We all love our old traditional Christmas tree, right? But if you're looking for some ways to update yourself this holiday season, we have some great ideas for you. Lifestyle expert Dawn Bitts here from GrasshavenOutdoor.com. And Dawn, I know you're going to tell us the 1, 2, 3s of how to get out of our old habits.
Think about color, think about simplified form, and different shapes.
And I know purple, big color for this year. It's my favorite one.
Big color. So Elle Decor actually named Pantone Wood Violet as the color of the year for 2015. We did a whole tree completely in purple, back up against a white background. It just really pops the purple.
And not just trees, but also menorahs. I know you have some really creative ideas for this.
You know, it's the holidays, right? So think about menorahs, think about Hanukkah. We've got a great modern menorah there, but you know what? You don't have to have a menorah.
And this is so cool. Are these wine glasses?
They're just champagne glasses.
Okay.
Pick your favorite purple color and put it up against a Star of David. You know what? We just made this one.
That's fantastic.
But it looks great because it's simplified form for a very modern style.
Okay, and tell us about this. I see fur, I'm seeing a lot of metallics.
It's all about modern and metallic, and add a little fur. You know, it's a very just different texture that you can throw in there, but it really spices up the holidays. And you know what? These things just bling in the sunlight against the fire backdrop, and it just makes a beautiful, beautiful centerpiece.
The white is so beautiful, but if you're someone who really likes color, this is another idea.
Cool contemporary right here. And look at what we did. We actually we don't have just the traditional Christmas tree. We've got some great forms right here that give the illusion of a Christmas tree, but yet little different, a little more modern style.
And then I do this one at home. You get the vase and you put the old ornaments in there if they don't maybe fit on the tree this year.
And these ornaments are actually completely vintage. So if you love vintage, you know, mid-century modern, this is what you do with them. They're a little scratched, they're a little worn, they're a little loved, but that's the point. Pair it up with kind of a wire tree. Again, same simplified form and shape, but it doesn't have to be that fir Christmas tree that's very traditional. What about a statement for your house? This is a great indoor or outdoor tree, but replace this with your traditional, you know, balsam, fir, or pine trees, and it makes a wonderful statement.
Fantastic. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us.
And so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.